Hello and welcome to another episode of The Average EV. Today I'm going to be talking all about the new 2026 Nissan Leaf. Let's get into it. All right, everybody, so you've probably seen a bunch of first look videos about the Nissan Leaf. Go check those out. Out of Spec has one, TFL EV has one, a couple other outlets have one, so go check those out. You can see the inside and everything about that. Today, I'm just giving you my perspective about the car. Being the average EV, I'm always on the lookout for the more affordable cars, and this looks like it's gonna fall in that category. So real quick, I'm just gonna go over some of the specs and then give my thoughts about this car, and then we'll call it a video. It'll be a nice and quick one. So first off, they're going to have a base S trim that has a smaller battery, I believe 54 kilowatt hours, and then they're going to have a S Plus, SV Plus, and a Platinum Plus that are going to have a 75 kilowatt hour battery pack. With that 75 kilowatt hour battery pack, the S Plus is going to get that advertised 303 miles you've been seeing. The SV Plus, I think it's a wheel issue causing the maybe a little added weight, but the SV Plus is going to get 288 miles of range, and then the Platinum Plus is going to get 259 miles of range. They did not list a range estimate for that base S car with the smaller battery pack, but if you take the efficiency and the calculations from the S Plus, we're looking at maybe like a 210, 220 mile car, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but just to give you a little bit of an estimate there. The S Plus, SV Plus, and Platinum Plus, I believe, will all come out first, and then about 6 months or so later, or at least some later date, the S will come out. The S has a 130 kilowatt motor with 256 pound-feet of torque, and all the other trims have a 160 kilowatt motor with 261 pound-feet of torque. So this is going to be actually a fun little car. These are really similar specs to my original Kona, my 2021 Kona. So it'll be a fun car. Interested to see what that torque, if the wheels will spin out, and that also has more power than my Kona did. So it'll be a fun car. Next, we have that it has a 7.2 kilowatt onboard charger. Some people might think that's a little weak sauce. It's probably okay since it's a smaller battery pack. Would have been nice to maybe have a 40 amp. 48 would be great, but 40 amp maybe would have been a little bit better, but it's okay. You're still going to be able to get a reasonable charger overnight if you have level 2 charging at home. They're saying that the DC fast charging 10 to 80% is going to be 35 minutes, which I think is completely respectable comparative to the class. Obviously, the EX30 has a little bit better charging time of 26 to 28 minutes, but it's also way more expensive. Something really interesting is it has 2 charge ports. On the left side, it has a J1772 that is AC only, obviously. And then on the right side, front right side, it has a NAX port, which is DC fast charging only. So at least the NAX port's on the right side if you want to go to a supercharger, but you can only DC fast charge with that, and you can only AC with the J1772. I think it might cause some confusion to new drivers. I think experienced drivers will be able to figure it out and they'll be okay. But new drivers who I think might be getting this car are going to be a little bit confused. So just be on the lookout for that if you're looking at this car, and maybe this will be your first EV. And I'm going to try and get access to this car so I can make some tutorials about it in the future. So the S and S Plus are going to have a smaller touchscreen of 12.3, and the driver's display screen will also be 12.3 inches. And then the SV Plus and Platinum Plus are going to have 14.3 for the driver and for your infotainment. And the added bonus for the SV Plus and Platinum Plus is that it is going to come with Google built in, which is going to, at the end of the day, it's going to make me want to push you to get the SV Plus or the Platinum Plus, because Google built in, like I have in my Equinox EV, is a really nice infotainment system. It integrates all of your battery and state of charge and your usage so that you can get pretty accurate route planning, which has been a big miss for the Aria and also for the previous Leaf. Moving on from that, the infotainment for the I believe actually all four, so S, S Plus, SV Plus, and Platinum Plus will have CarPlay and Android Auto. So if you don't get the SV Plus or Platinum Plus, you'll at least have Android Auto and CarPlay, so you can use a better route planner, Waze, whatever you desire. And what's really cool is ProPilot is standard, so lane centering standard. Not even the Chevy Equinox has lane centering standard. It's okay. It's really not that big a deal, but it would be nice. Moving on, there is a vehicle to load with adapter available, I believe, for all trims. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So the S and S Plus do not come with a heat pump, nor do they come with a battery heater. The SV Plus and Platinum Plus come with a heat pump standard, but if you want the battery heater, you have to pay extra for it, which I find to be interesting, probably cost-cutting measures. So that is something to consider, maybe if you're cross-shopping Equinox, where Equinox has the heat pump and the battery heater and everything that's built in. It's just a part of the package you get. And then lastly, I wanted to do a space. The most important space to me, at least, is rear leg, and then the cargo up and then folded down. And I actually had the Leaf, the Kona, and the EX30 because they're all kind of in the same class. Sorry for people who really like the Nero. I just didn't have enough room on my Post-it note that I've been using. So for the Leaf, it has 31.8 inches of rear leg room, which I find to be interesting because the EX30 has 32.3, and that was pretty small. But in all the first looks, people were pretty pleased with the rear leg room. So maybe there's like a more buckety seat in the back, gives a little bit more room to make it a little bit more comfortable for the rear passenger. And then the Kona comes in with 36.4 inches of rear leg room, clearly the most spacious of the bunch. The Leaf with the second row up has 20 cubic feet of storage. The Kona has 25.5 feet of cubic storage, and the EX30 has a meager 12.4 cubic feet of storage. And lastly, with the second row folded down flat, you have 55.5 cubic feet in the Leaf, 63.7 cubic feet in the Kona, so a ton of space there, and then a measly 27.8 cubic feet in the EX30. So definitely, if you want like a city car and you don't care about space, EX30 is fine. But if you want something that can kind of meet all your needs of storage, maybe need to move some stuff or whatnot, Leaf and Kona are going to be the way to go for you. Kona being a little bit bigger. So the last thing I want to talk about is pricing. So the current Leaf price for the S, which is the small battery, is $28,140. This is without destination. And then the SV Plus is $36,000 and some change for the SV Plus. So interesting. These cars have a lot more stuff in them. So I'm thinking the S is probably going to bump up to $30,000, maybe $31,000, and that's for the small battery S. I'm thinking the S Plus we can see in the $34,000, $35,000 to be competitive with the base Equinox, even though they're not, you can't compare them at all because the Equinox is so much bigger. And then lastly, we have the SV Plus. I'm thinking maybe 38, 39, pushing 40. I know that's crazy, but if the current SV Plus with a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack is $36,000, I don't see how the SV Plus couldn't be more. I don't know. And on top of that, with tariffs and with Nissan struggling as a company, I just don't know how much of a loss they're going to be able to take on any of these cars. So those are just my thoughts. I know people really want it to be maybe the S Plus or whatever be at 35, or maybe the SV Plus be lower. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm actually at Starbucks. I'm going to go run and get my Starbucks, and then I'm going to give my final thoughts. All right, so let's wrap up this video. First off, personally, I think the new Leaf, the 2026 model year Leaf, looks great. It's definitely a little bit different, but I think it's cool, especially when you're looking at what the first gen Leaf looked like, which was really kind of crazy, and then the second gen Leaf was kind of like, reserved. I think this one is a little bit of future, and it's nice, and it's really all for that. They went from a 0.29 coefficient of drag to 0.26 coefficient of drag, so to make it a little bit more efficient. So I like the looks. I even think people really don't like the rear. It's got like that GV60 kind of vibe to it. Maybe not as nice looking as a GV60, but I don't know. That's my impression. I like it, and I hope they have some fun colors. I know they have that fun blue color that was in a bunch of the walkthrough videos that people were doing. Okay, moving on from that. Talking about price, I am just worried that this isn't going to be priced right. I don't know if they'll be able to price it right, and if they do, like, will they financially, be able to stay afloat because of the pricing? We shall see in time. I think if they could get the S Plus to the like 34, 35, that would be good, and if they could get the SV Plus to like 36, 37. I don't know. At that point, I'm like looking at, Equinox. I don't know. So we'll see what happens with pricing. And anything can happen. As far as range is concerned, I think the range is great at 303 with the S Plus, and then I believe it was 288 for the SV Plus. I think that's very reasonable for the size of the car and the battery pack. And I think the charging's decent, so I think all those things there definitely worth it for people. I think the space is reasonable, and I think that it'll be a great car for like a smaller family, or maybe just like a couple with a dog, something like that. And with the bigger battery and all the Plus models, you'll definitely be able to road trip, I think, very easily and very comfortably. I didn't go down all the specs for you all. There's definitely some things that obviously you'd like to have in like the S and S Plus that they cut out, but since they're trying to, I'm sure they're being very price sensitive with this product. I'm sure that's a little bit of the reasoning behind that. But I think having the ProPilot standard is nice. I think at least having the decent infotainment screen size regardless of what trim you get's nice. I wish Google built-in was with all the trims, because that just it makes the EV driving experience so much easier and better, especially for new drivers, because it does all the route planning and stuff like that. So I don't know, but that's pretty much all I have with this initial video about the new model year of the Nissan Leaf, the 2026 model year of the Nissan Leaf. Hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm going to try and get my hands on a Nissan Leaf once they come out, do some tutorial videos to provide them for you all, because I think it's a really cool car. Hopefully the price is right. And actually, this just popped into my head. I'm thinking maybe like leasing might be the way to go for this car too, because then you could probably reach up a little bit to the SV Plus and get that better car experience. So yeah, that's that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave them down below. Do you think it looks great? Do you think it looks terrible? And that's all I have. So thanks again. If you haven't already, please give me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will catch you all next time.